Hello everyone, my name is Happy Black Legends and thank you so much for clicking on another Vlogoween video. Yes! So, today's video, I don't know why, I didn't mean to grab that. Today's video is going to be intense. It's going to be insane. We are talking about a French serial killer, drag queen. There's just a lot going on with this human being, and honestly, I feel like this person should get their own, like, American Horror Story season. I think this motherfucker was fucking insane, okay? Il s'appelle Thierry Paulin. Monsieur Paulin. Okay, this motherfucker was insane. He ended up being known as le tueur des vieilles dames, which en anglais, in English, that literally translates to killer of old ladies. And that is exactly what this motherfucker did. He specifically targeted old, vulnerable women who oftentimes were sleeping alone in their houses or were leaving from the grocery store and were carrying a lot of bags. He would target these women alone. Most of the people he killed were above the age of 70, and he told police, I only picked the weakest of them. This motherfucker was insane. So Thierry Paulin, like I already mentioned, he targeted old women. Those were all of his victims, and he would kill. So it's confirmed that he killed at least 18 people, but he claimed to have killed 21 people. But we only know for a fact of 18. Thierry Paulin was born the 28th of November. He was born in Martinique en français, which used to be, I don't think they're still owned by France, but they used to be a French-owned colony dans le Caribbean. His father's name was Gaby Paulin, and his mother's name was Rose Ellon. Pretty much from day one of his childhood, he was made to feel worthless, abandoned, and uncared for. 2 days after his birth, his father left, and at 18 months, his mother, who was basically like a teenager, realized there was no way that she could take care of Paulin, and so she ended up giving him to his father's mom, so his grandma. And his grandma was not happy about this at all. She did not want to care for some snot-nosed little motherfucker. And she was actually a restaurant owner. She owned a restaurant called Le Mama Jojo, and it was on the beach of Martinique. The beach name, I think, was Ange. I think that's how you pronounce it. I can't remember. But I tried to find pictures of the restaurant, and I couldn't. I was really bummed because I really wanted to see what the restaurant looked like, but I could not find a single picture of the restaurant. I looked high and low. I even used Bing, okay? Like, ew. So I really did try to find a picture, but maybe I was looking at it and didn't even realize. I don't know why I just put on more foundation on my hand, because I do not need more foundation, but we can bake today. We have time. This dude was really fucked up, and his story will be quite long, I can imagine. It took me like hours to do research on this man, because I used French and English resources to get a broader sense of this man. And I watched like a documentary. I read a lot of articles. It was just, this dude was just so crazy to me, because he was just, I don't know, he seems like this dude feels like a Ryan Murphy character. Like, he does not feel like a real human being. So his grandma really was like she was like, fuck you. Like, she just did not want to take care of a kid. Like, that's not what she signed up for. And at age 10, he ended up moving back in with his mom, who at this point had remarried, and she had like 5 kids. So she was clearly mothering these kids, and yet again Paulin kind of felt abandoned and like forgotten about, because it's like, how can you care for these 5 kids but have left me alone for the past 10 years with someone who didn't even love me. Like, he just felt like, does anyone actually love me? And it's kind of sad because, like, no one really, it honestly does not seem like anyone really loved him. Like, I'm just, like, it really doesn't seem like anyone cared for him, like, in terms of his family. It just does not seem like anyone understood him, loved him, cared about him, and it's really, really sad. So when he moved back in with his mom, he, for a brief period of time, would say that it wasn't all bad. Like, he played with his siblings on the beach, and he remembers a short period of happiness, but that quickly soured, and he became verbally and physically aggressive with his siblings. I could not find any details on what exactly he would do to his siblings, so I don't know. I don't know if he would just, like, yell at them. I don't know if he would physically fight them, but he became, every single article that I would read and every single documentary and everything that I just came across used the word erratic. That was the word that they used. They said he became erratic and toxic towards his family. And this behavior continued at school. He actually ended up threatening a teacher with a knife. And the school, this is not funny. I'm sorry. I laugh when I'm uncomfortable. Everyone knows this. Like, subscribers know this. My friends know this. My mom knows this. People know this, but, like, people who don't know me think that I'm trying to, like, mock something, and I'm really not. It's just, like, it's not funny. It's just, it is not funny. So he threatened a teacher with a fucking knife at school, and the school tried to tell his mom, and Thierry actually ended up, like, you know how the school's gonna call your mom to let them know that you were being a little shit at school, and instead of your mom answering the phone, you give them, like, your phone number, and then that you pick up and pretend to be your mom? He basically took the letter before his mom could actually read it, responded to the letter pretending to be his mom, and sent it back to the school. And so, like, his mom had no idea what was going on at school, but she knew what was going on at home. And eventually, her husband was like, lady, your kid is insane, and he is not, I don't feel safe with him being here with my kids, like, kind of thing. And he basically gave her kind of an ultimatum, and she basically begged his father to take him back, and his father only agreed to take him back so that he would have to stop paying child support. So again, it's like, no one's really, like, taking him in because they want to. It's kind of like, come on in, I guess, like, or it's out of, like, selfish reasons. It's just really sad. So Paulin ended up moving in with his father. I think he was 12 or 13 at this point, and he just really struggled with school and with, like, finding a job later on after school. He just struggled with his purpose in life, and so he decided at age 17 to actually join the military as a hairdresser. But he ended up facing a lot of sort of harassment because, number one, he was biracial. I don't know if I mentioned this earlier on in the video, but he was actually biracial. Like, he just got a lot of harassment for being gay and for being biracial. This man could not catch a fucking break. So on November 14th, a few weeks before his birthday, actually, he ended up committing his first, like, known crime, or his first crime that got him in trouble. He robbed an old woman with a knife, and, like, at a grocery store in Toulouse, and this was really stupid because, like, the grocer immediately recognized Paulin. Like, Paulin is a biracial guy. He has, like, an earring. He's a gay biracial guy. Like, people knew who he was. That's what I'm trying to say. Like, people knew who he was. Toulouse is in the south of France. It's not, like, you know, like, they knew who he was. That's what I'm trying to say. Like, they knew who this bitch was, okay? So they were like, motherfucker, what is you doing, motherfucker? And he ended up getting arrested and convicted to 2 years in prison. But I don't know how the law works in France, but I guess he was on a suspended, like, sentence, so that means he could roam around free, which I don't agree with America's prison laws by any means. But this motherfucker definitely did not need to be roaming the streets free, like, at all, okay? So at 21, he was like, you know, I've had enough of the military, and he ended up moving to Paris, which is in the north of France. So kind of a far move. There he moved in with his mom and he started working at a nightclub called Paradis Latin, which in English translates to Latin paradise, I believe. This is not really showing up that well on my skin like I thought it was. I thought since it was a vibrant color, it would really show up well on my skin. Maybe I have to pat this on instead of rubbing it on, but this is not really what I thought it was going to be. And it is applied in a very shitty way. This does not look good. I look like I rubbed Cheeto dust all over my eye. We're gonna fix it. We're gonna fix it. At Paradis Latin, he would basically dress up in drag and lip sync or sing to Eartha Kitt songs. This literally looks like Kraft mac and cheese powder, artificial cheese, whey protein. Like, this looks so bad. I have to fix this immediately. And actually, I guess his mom came to one of his performances and she was so like disgusted and embarrassed by it that she ended up leaving before he was even like he was barely 5 minutes into his performance before she actually just got up and left. So again, just he had like nobody in his corner. But that would soon change because Thierry Paulin actually ends up meeting the love of his life, I would dare say, at Paradis Latin. His lover's name was Jean-Thierry Matterrand, which is crazy because Thierry's name is Thierry and this dude's name was Jean-Thierry, so I just think that's kind of like, whoa, whoa, whoa. Like, y'all basically have the same name. That's kind of weird. But anyways, so they ended up becoming lovers, and Matterrand actually had a bit of a drug problem. I don't know why I said it like that. I'm sorry. He had a problem with drugs. So, Paulin also would kind of do drugs, and they just wanted to be fabulous drag queen performers together, and their drug habit was not cheap. So they actually, I am not making this any better. I am making this worse. Every day I am thankful for the fact that my eyesight is not that great. So sometimes the world is just blurry and I don't have to look at things head on, you know? And sometimes, like, having bad eyesight is not always fun, but sometimes I'm like, thank God I can't actually see what's going on in front of me right now. Like, thank fuck, you know? But anyways, so they decided to start committing crimes, and they started murdering and stealing just to afford their coke habit, to afford their drag habit. Like, drag is not cheap. They also really wanted to fit in with like high Parisian society and socialites, and they wanted to be like in at all of the gay clubs and all of the parties. They were snorting cocaine and drinking champagne. You know, they were just, I don't know why I did that, I'm so sorry, but they were just kind of living. Whoa, this is really bad. Hi. You know, maybe I'll stand back here and do my eye makeup so that way I can actually kind of see, because now that suddenly I see, this ain't what I wanna be, suddenly I see, why the hell I look so crazy. Anyways, so like I mentioned, Thierry Paulin was basically only going to target old women. So on October 5th, 1984, they attacked 2 women. The first lady survived, but she was so traumatized that she couldn't actually give a proper account of what happened. And then the second lady that they attacked ended up dying. She was suffocated in her apartment with a pillow, and they took about 300 francs. So again, they were committing crimes just for money. Like, they just wanted to make money so that they could afford their drugs and so that they can afford to like stay afloat with the Parisian lifestyle. They just wanted to party, do drugs, drink, and perform on stage at drag shows. Like, they just wanted to be fabulous. They wanted to fit in. They sort of found solace in each other. You know, this was like the 80s in Paris. Them being gay men, them being gay black men, they oftentimes face discrimination, like, so often. And so they found, like, each other, and they wanted to live in sort of fantasy land, because the real land, the real world, was not really that great for them, you know? And again, I am not justifying what they did. These people were, they were really fucked up, and the things that they did were really terrible. During November and, like, during October and November, they ended up killing a total of 8 women, and, like, assaulting 9. So 1 survived and 8 died, and it was just insane. All of, not just Paris was afraid, but France was afraid, because these were, like, old women that they were targeting. So it showed a true lack of empathy. It's not, like, obviously killing anybody is bad, but to specifically target defenseless people who are more vulnerable, people who probably do not have the strength to fight back, and people who probably, after an altercation like that, had less of a chance of surviving from any sort of, you know, maybe a fear can send them into a heart attack, like, just anything, you know. It was just really fucked up, and France really wanted the police to find these motherfuckers. And what was so crazy about this was Paulin's fingerprints were in Toulouse, but because he was in Paris, they didn't have access to his fingerprints. Because again, keep in mind, like, Toulouse is all the way down here and Paris is, like, all the way up there. So it's not like, they're not even nearby counties, you know? They're, like, on the complete opposite end of the motherfucking country. They mostly would beat and strangle their victims. They made one lady consume drain cleaner, actually, which I think is really fucked up. Whoa, that looks terrible. Ooh, Miss Girl. You know what? I might just... Ooh, Miss Girl, that does not look good. Miss Girl. So, and in November, the killing suddenly stopped, and everyone was confused, but also, like, hooray! I don't remember what the French say for hooray, but they were just like, we no longer have to deal with the crazy people who are killing the old ladies. I think I just got foundation in my eye because my entire eye is burning, and it is now watering up. She's watering up. She's watering up, and I'm crying because I think I just got makeup in my eye. I think I just got makeup in my eye. Ow, 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 ow. So, like, everyone was really happy that they were gone, but also they were really scared that they would come back. They still were trying to pressure the police to find these guys. And it just sucks because the police, like, would send their fingerprints to, like, all surroundings. See, like, I'm tearing up from all that foundation in my eye. When the attack stopped, everyone in Paris just assumed, like, okay, they just left. And they did leave. Paulin and Mitterrand decided to move back to Toulouse to live with Paulin's father. But this was a bad idea from the get-go, because, like, Paulin's father was very homophobic, and he would mistreat the boys really badly. He would say really homophobic things, and it actually was so bad that it ended up breaking apart the boys. Like, they could not stay together after everything he said. Like, he just really tore them down. So they both ended up moving back to Paris, but just separately. Like, they separated their ways. They parted ways. And once Paulin came back to Paris, the killings just started right back up again, sans Mitterrand. For about 6 months, from December 1985 to June 1986, he killed, I think, another 8 women. But this time, the police they still didn't know who he was, but they were gathering more information. And what they realized was that, okay, this is the same person who was involved with all the last murders, and this time he's using far less cruel methods. He's being a little bit more he's just trying to do it quickly, get the money, and go. It just seemed like that he was less torture, more quick. And then in fall 1986, he actually attacked his coke dealer with a bat. I guess he thought that he got, like, the coke dealer gave him a really bad batch of coke, and so he ended up attacking the dealer. And the dealer, like, went to the police, which, when I read this, I'm sorry, but I was laughing. I was like, yo, what the fuck? Like, the dealer really went to the police and was like, "Wah, he attacked me." Which, like, obviously the dealer has the right to do that. But I'm just shocked that a dealer would even go to the police and be like, "This man just attacked me for selling bad coke." Like, isn't he afraid? The police can't, in America, the police cannot arrest. Like, if you walk up to a police officer and say, "I just did meth," legally they cannot arrest you unless you appear intoxicated, number one. But number two, unless they actually see you doing the meth, they can't arrest you because there's no proof. Like, they don't know that, you know? So, it's just, like, crazy to me that he would actually even go to the officers, though. Like, I just think that's insane. But yeah, he went to the officers and was like, you know, "This man just beat me up." And they actually arrested Thierry. And okay, so I don't understand how this happened, because they arrested him, they got the fingerprints, but they didn't, like, I don't know, they didn't cross-test. I don't know if national database existed at this point yet. I don't know. I think that was in the 90s or the 2000s. Maybe that's why, but this was, like, so infuriating to me, because he's actually arrested and is in prison for a year, and they still, like, and the killing stopped. So it's like, ugh. It's just really sad, you know? It's really frustrating, because, like, more lives were lost and this could have been prevented, you know? But again, it's like, damn. So after his stay in prison, he actually realized, like, he was HIV positive. And this ended up making, he ended up going harder. Like, he ended up being like, "I'm gonna die anyway, so let's go," kind of thing. Like, he just went wild. And he was gearing up for his 24th birthday, which I think he expected was going to be his last birthday. A few days before his birthday, he killed one lady. Then the next lady he suffocated and left for dead. And then 2 days later, he killed what would end up being his last victim. This is fucking crazy, okay? On his 24th birthday, while he is partying it up, living life, living la vida loca à Paris, the second lady that he suffocated and left for dead miraculously, like, survived and recovers, and she ends up giving an account to the police, and she describes him as a biracial man with an earring in his left ear, and that's that on that period. And so he's partying it up, like, living his life, and this bitch is like, "He was a biracial man with an earring in his left ear." You know, like, that is just fucking insane. So, and what goes around comes around. Like, it is about time. After his 24th birthday, Paulin is actually out for a walk, and an officer immediately recognizes him from his victim's description, and he asks him to come down to the police station. And at first, for like 2 days, he just denies everything. And, like, you know, it was like, okay. And then eventually the police got to him. They pulled out a bottle of drain cleaner. Remember how I mentioned that he actually made one of his victims drink drain cleaner? He pulls out the bottle, like, the police pull out the bottle, and they're like, "Okay, so if you aren't connected, why do we have your fingerprints on this?" Dun dun dun. And then he's like, "Well, actually, that's Meurternix. C'est pas la mienne." And it's like, wow, bitch, you just really ratted out your ex-lover. Like, that is kind of fucked up. And so this is the first step into getting him to confess to all of the crimes, all of the murders. And like I mentioned, he confesses to 21 kills, but the police only know about 18. I'm assuming maybe he thought that he killed people, but they ended up surviving, and maybe they just never reported his, like, the attack, or maybe the attacks were just never ended up getting linked to him. I don't know, but he said he killed 21. Maybe he was just saying that to appear bigger and badder than he actually was. Like, I really don't know. Paulin ended up dying from AIDS on I believe it was April 18th, 1889, and he was never actually convicted for his crimes. And this actually really pissed off a lot of French people. They felt like it was really unfair, and they felt like his victims would never receive justice. And so they kind of, like, when he died, they were kind of like, all right, and they turned their heads at Mitterrand, who definitely deserved to be convicted and put in prison for his crimes, because he was involved with the first 9 assaults and 8 murders, so he deserved to be imprisoned for those crimes, and he was imprisoned. He was released from prison in 2009, and that really pissed off a lot of people. A lot of people felt like he should have been in prison for life. That is pretty much the story on Thierry Paulin. This guy lived a life of just pure craziness, and that's why, like, when I was reading his story, it just felt unreal. It felt like he just didn't feel like a real person, because it feels like a Lifetime series. Like, it's just so insane. And, like, I don't know. I think he was probably a sociopath, not a psychopath, because, like, psychopaths are born. Thierry Paulin, like, his lack of empathy was definitely created from, it was definitely created from the lack of love that he received from his family growing up. Like, let's be real. Also, like, I don't know if he was bullied as a young child for being biracial and gay. It was only ever mentioned about the military, but I also probably can believe that his childhood, he probably was bullied a lot. But let's be real. A lot of us have childhood traumas. A lot of us are bullied, and we don't all turn out to be motherfucking serial killers. And, like, he didn't kill out of a want to kill. He didn't kill because he was, like, thirsty to kill. He killed for a facade. He killed to live a glamorous life. And that is terrifying. That is terrifying. And it's terrifying for so many reasons. Like, I think it's terrifying because it's like, I don't know, just the idea of someone targeting old women just for money, just for, like, cocaine and champagne and for partying. That's, like, that's just crazy. It's inexcusable. It's hard to wrap your mind around. Like, you literally just killed. You did this for what? Like, for real. Like, actually for real. Like, why did you do this? Like, and I don't know if, like, I hope now that you guys have heard the whole story, I hope now you see what I'm saying when I say, like, this dude just feels like a Ryan Murphy character. Like, this is just an absolute insane story to me. There actually is a movie based on Thierry Paulin's story in life. It's called J'ai pas sommeil, which is like I haven't slept, or like I can't sleep, basically. I haven't watched the movie. I would love to watch it. I tried to look online where I could find it, but I don't know if I'll be able to stream it since I'm in America, in the United States, excuse me. But anyways, c'est la fin. That is the end. That is the story of Thierry Paulin. Comment down below what you thought of this whole mess. On one hand, I feel really bad for him, and on the other hand, I feel even worse for his poor victims. His victims were probably frightened, and they knew that they were not coming out at the end of that. They knew that they were going to die, like, I'm pretty sure. And it's just really sad and scary to think about. Thank you to my patrons and my YouTube members and my subscribers. And don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and all that jazz. And I will see you in the next one. Alrighty, y'all. Bye.